think we can start our third webinar of this month. Okay, let's go. So welcome everyone, and welcome to our third quarantine Flexi 19 webinar. Today I will show you how to prepare a direct to vinyl job in Flexi 19 and some useful tips for direct cutting in our software. So I'll show some basic settings and some advanced settings in our Flexi software. There will be also a Q&A session after the webinar. So if you have questions about the software, you can always ask them in the chat box, and my colleagues, they will answer them. I also want to say we are still available for sales questions, technical questions. You can call us, call the Europe office. You can send an email to our support team, to our sales team. We are still available. All right. So let's start. I opened my Flexi Designer. So today I'm using the latest version of the software, the 3260 build. If you have a subscription, you're able to download this latest version via the SAI Cloud. So saicloud.com, you'll find the latest installation for Flexi 19. Okay. My production manager, I added a Summa T-Series 160. So I'll demonstrate a virtual Summa. Today I want to show how to prepare direct to vinyl cut. So nothing to do with printing, nothing to do with color, only sending a cut job directly to a cutter. I'll start with a basic example. So I take my text tool here. Text tool. Just gonna type Flexi tests. A bit bigger, like so. I'm gonna take a scripted font, Italia, for example, like so. Already a question by Byron. Is there a way to download without having to download the entire software for build? No, there's no updated download. So you have to install the software from scratch via the SAI Cloud. And I recommend to install on a new installation path, so you have the full, complete new installation. So I have a Flexi text here created with the text tool. And if I hit Ctrl F for the outline view, it's the same as this fill mode here. So you have fill mode, you can change it here, but the shortcut is Ctrl F. You can see the outlines of my artwork. And what I can see already is my letters are overlapping each other. So if I send this to my cutter, it will cut into my letter. So this is a bad result when I send this to my cutter. I can easily fix this using the Weld option in my toolbar, Weld. So if I select my text and I click Weld, all my letters and my text are welded together, and my overlapping parts are now welded. So if I send this to my cutter, it's a perfect result. Now in our software, this is a very easy example, but in our software, in our cut plot window, and we go to the advanced tab, so the fourth tab, advanced settings, there's an option to auto weld. So if I check this box, auto weld, it will automatically weld all the objects which are overlapping. So it's like a safety checkbox. So if you check this box, you don't need to concern about all the rest of your documents. So if you have a lot of text and there are overlapping parts, and you just check the auto weld checkbox here, all the overlapping parts are welded. So very useful to save you material if you have the safety, the security checkbox checked. I have another example here. So I created some text with some icons with our information. If I want to send this to my cutter, I select everything, go to cut plot or Ctrl-L shortcut. It opens my cut plot window. What I can do here is pull the size in my first step. I pull the size of my cutter. So if I have a roll of 1 meter, it will display 1 meter. In this case, I have no machine connected, so I can't pull the size. I can add some copies here. Everyone, this is very basic. But the interesting part here is in the third tab, in the options tab, we have our extra weed lines to help the guy who needs to weed this vinyl to help and save him time. So what it does is, here, if I add an extra weed border, it will add an extra border around my artwork, like so. I can add horizontal weed lines as well. For example, in this case, it's very practical to add horizontal weed lines, so I can easily peel off or weed the separated text lines. I can also add vertical weed lines, like so. In this case, not so practical. And I can also add horizontal split lines. They'll go through my text, but not through my artwork. I can also add them manually. So if I right-click into my preview, I can add them horizontally or vertically. So if I want to add a horizontal split line here, I click, and there will be only one horizontal weeding line on this position. I want to add one here, for example, two, like so. I want to add a vertical one here. So this is a very practical and useful example to save time afterwards in the post-production of this vinyl. Are there any questions about this? No questions? Perfect. Here as well, I can set a strategy, a cut strategy for my cutter. If I want to use the settings of my machine, I select none. Very important. So I select none. If I send a non-cut strategy to my cutter, it will use the default machine settings. So if your cutter is calibrated with a depth, with the speed, the pressure of the knife, etc., you select none. If you want to customize it and you want to override your machine settings, you can always change the values of your cut strategy. If you want a faster knife or a deeper cut, for example, you can change it in the cut strategy. So double click or you go to edit. Some things I want to cover as well in the fourth tab, in the advanced tab. There's a lot of things here, but I just want to cover personally the most important things. So I already covered the auto weld. So it's I would check this every time I send a job. So I keep this auto weld checked. Another thing is the eliminate line segment overlap. What is the eliminate line segment overlap? I will show you with a quick example. So I'll copy this to another document. Sometimes if I import files, mostly DXF files, for example, you can't see at the moment you have two lines overlapping each other. But if I drag the lines away from my artwork, you can see we have two objects in this document. If I send this to my cutter, it will cut twice, which will cut through my final, or it will give a bad cutting result. What I do here, if I check this box, eliminate line segment overlap, the software will detect all overlapping segments, and it will only send the cut line once. So if I check eliminate line segment overlap, it will only cut my artwork once and not twice. So this is a very important and useful setting. Okay. Let's see what else is very useful in the advanced cut plot window. So here as well, convert strokes to outlines. If you're working with text and you want to send only the outlines, you can convert it automatically. It's like the auto weld. It will apply all those changes automatically to all your artwork, for example. All those settings as well, you can save them in a preset. So if you want to send a job with wheel borders by default, for example, you can always save it as a preset. Select all and say wheat lines, for example. Okay, you have a preset for your cutter. So if you send afterwards a job, for example, create a new job, I go to cut plot and I select the preset wheat lines. It will also apply the copies. Everything what I saved in my presets will be applied in my cut plot window. Okay. Something else here, I want to see how my machine will cut my artwork. So I want a preview how my machine will cut my lines, all my objects in my file. You can easily check this in the menu Arrange, Cut Order, Preview. And it will preview you how the software will send the data to the cutter. By default, this is generated how you calculated how you create a file, but we can change the cut order. Radu, I don't really understand the question. I don't really understand the tool option in the Summa options. In the cut plot window, maybe? The tool here in Edit. So you can, if your machine has some, for example, some preset tools already saved, like you're using tool 1 or tool 2 in the machine, you can set tool 2, for example, and it will use the saved preset of your machine. Is that clear? Then you can set, for example, 1 or no. We can cover this later if you want. Okay. So I showed you the cut order of my object in cut order preview, but I want to change my cut order to save some time. So I want to cut these objects, those objects by y-axis from the bottom to the top. I can change my cut order of this file. If you go to Arrange, Cut Order, Reorder, you see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the cut order, but I can change it in the Design Central, sort by Y, and you already see it will change the values. I hit Apply. If I go now to Cut Order Preview, it will cut like this. You can change the speed. So it will save you some time cutting this. This is a useful tool if you have larger jobs of 2 or 3 meters, for example, so your cutter is not going from 0 to 100 all the time. Voila. So I have some questions. When you use FlexCut on Suma, the cut order is totally random. Cannot find how to change cut order for FlexCut. Is this possible? George, we can maybe cover this after the webinar. Okay. Voila, this is the cut order. Okay. For my next practical example, I want to show you a car wrap with a purple vinyl. So if you have a white car and you have only the purple vinyl, you can easily create a car wrap using Flexi, using our sign design elements. So that's something I want to show you right now. Okay. So I need my template for my Mercedes Sprinter. So I go to my sign design elements. I log in with my cloud credentials. And we have an easy tool here called Template Finder. So we have a huge collection of car templates in our template, in our sign design elements. So if we click on Template Finder, supplier is, in this case, Mr. Clipart. So it's the brand of the templates. For EU, I go to Mercedes as my brand. Model is a Sprinter. It will give you also the options for model year. So I have one of 2019. Select Go, and it will show you all the results for Mercedes Sprinters 2019. In this case, I think I had this one. I click download, and it will download your template. If you have a subscription, you have 5 free downloads. So this is free in your Flexi subscription. Sign design elements, sde.binksite.com. If you want more downloads, you can subscribe for a sign design element subscription. It's 15 euros a month. So after I download the EPS file, create a new document, I import my Mercedes template. it will ask you to close all open paths. So I click yes. And I paste my Mercedes template. I see my model is scaled 1:20, and I want to work on a 1:1 scale, so 100%. What I can do is, in my Design Central, it's like a calculator. I multiply by 20, and I hit tab, like so, and it will enlarge my document, so it's on a 1:1 scale. I ungroup by right-clicking on group, and I remove all those things here. So remove my background. So we can check if the size is correct by selecting my measurement line here. So 5932. What we see is 5932 millimeters. So this is on a 1:1 scale correct. I'm gonna make my artboard larger as well. Like so, and I'm gonna center. Control 5 is center on the artboard, so I have my card template centered on my artboard. I don't want my roof. Like so, okay. Voila. What I can do here is I open my design editor. So it's in the top toolbar or shortcut E, my design editor. And my card template is now on layer 1. I can rename my layer by selecting the text, and I'm gonna say it's card templates, like so. What I can do here is I make it uncuttable, so nothing in this selection is cuttable because we need to add something to cut, or editable. So if we check editable and cuttable, you can't edit the card template anymore, and if you send something to the cutter, nothing will be cut from the card template. What I do here is I make a new layer, and I call this artwork. I will work on my artwork layer. This color here at the end of my layer is the selection color. So for my card template, it's red. So if I select this, it's red. I want my artwork layer to be selected green, for example. So I can just right click, properties, and I make this green, like so. So I'm now working on the artwork layer. All right. Let's check my results to see what I want to create. So I want to create a purple final here and some text underneath it, like so. So what I can do is I make it editable again, my card template. I select my window and also the outside of my window. So afterwards I can just cut perfectly the size of my inside. So I want to cut a bit more of my colored vinyl so it fits perfectly into in the shape of this rectangle. I copy this to my artwork layer, and I say paste over. So it will paste over the same position. I make this, I lock my card template layer again, like so. I'm gonna import my Flexi logo. Flexi logo. I'm gonna make it purple using the eyedropper tool, like so. I'm gonna select my logo. I'm gonna align it using the horizontal center alignment, like so. I'm gonna add some text. Subscribe now, for example. Invite. I give you the font. Like so. Align it to my logo. Like so. See, so I've created very easily a an artwork on a 1-to-1 scale. So if I want to cut this onto my Suma, if I have purple vinyl, for example, I just hit the cut plot window because my card template is not cuttable. So if I want to send only this purple square with my text, I hit cut plot. I rotate this. I hit the zoom to all objects, and we see it will only send my my artwork to my cutter because I've locked my card template layer very easily. So I have a question. I have a question of Andreas. While using paste, you can change the position. Paste over will center over a selected object. Yes. Question of Vic. Is it possible to have a webinar on complex logo or design tracing? Yes, sure. We can do something about that. There are some easy YouTube tutorials about vectorizing objects. My colleague will send you a link about the vectorization. We did already. Okay, so I showed you how to create an easy car wrap in Flexi. Are there any questions about this? Are there questions about the car wrap or about the car templates? The design in cut shows. Alessandro, I don't have design center. So the design, do you mean the design editor or the design central? The design central. So if you don't have the design central, you can check in your top toolbar or press Ctrl E. Ctrl I mean. And then it will show you the design central. Trend about the car templates. You can go to sign design elements. So SDE inside.com, you can log in with your cloud account, and here you have template finder, and you can choose your brand and your model, and you have a list of a list of your search results. Something new in Flexi 19 as well is the nesting in the cut plot window. So if you have some objects like so, you hit cut plot. Here you have the nest function. So if you hit nest, it will nest them together. So it will save you material. So it's the same as nesting in the Flexi Designer, but now in the cut plot window. You can even smart nest your objects as well. So it will true shape nest is the original name, your objects. This is new in Flexi 19. So the nesting. Christoph, and how to make a mirror. The mirror of this. So if I copy this and I go to my second tab, rotate tab in Design Central, I can flip by y-axis, like so. I select my logo, flip again, I flip this, and I flip this. Voila. So in Design Central, you have the mirror settings. You're welcome. Did I miss a question? No. So for Flexi, you don't need plugins or anything. So you can just connect your cutter and send directly via your Flexi Designer, via the cut plot window to your machine, which is a big advantage. So no plugins needed. Are there any other questions? Okay, so next week we'll do a webinar about the subscriptions. Why would you subscribe for Flexi software? So what are the benefits of a Flexi subscription? This is something I want to cover with you. Why is this an advantage for my sign shop, for the customer? Why should I subscribe for Flexi? My colleague will send a registration link. Voila, so you can register here. If you have any questions about Flexi software or about this webinar, you can send them to support@thinkSci.eu. So if you want to cover something else with me, one-on-one, it's not a problem. If I have a subscription, is it possible to get a design software for an extra PC? Hendrik, yes. We have also Flexi Designer subscriptions. So only the Flexi Designer as a subscription. All the information about this on saisubscriptions.com. So we have a Flexi Design subscription. This webinar is also being recorded, and all the attendees will receive an email with a link to rewatch this webinar. So for HP questions India, please contact my colleague Gavin. Hi Radu, please send us the feature request via email to support, please, if you have any. Okay, so I think we can stop this webinar. I hope everyone enjoyed. Please can explain again how to change the cutting order. Sure. So I have my start here. I go to arrange, cut order, reorder. And my design central will give you the options. So I can sort by Y, for example, and hit apply. So now my cut order is changed. Okay, Andrea? I hope this webinar was clear for everyone and you can start working on those direct to final cut jobs, which are very easy. You just need the machine, our software, some material, and of course the skills to wrap the final, of course. All right. I hope everyone is safe. Be safe. Have a good day. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Thanks, Michael. Be safe, everyone. Be healthy. Bye-bye.